to recall what's happening, but whatever is happening, I'm not familiar with those feelings, with those sensations.
You have any advice, Jaime?
Um, okay, Paul, can you explain that again? What you were saying?
Yeah, so I will be listening to the ocean waves and Robert Monroe narrating, and then I will have these feelings, almost maybe like a fire in me, but I don't know, I can't quite describe the feeling because I've never felt those before doing out of body training or anything like that. It feels different to me. And then I will completely just like blip out, but in a way where it's like I didn't even know I blipped out. I thought that I was still just, laying in bed. I'm not even in bed, I'm laying on the floor. That's not even comfortable. And I'm just listening to the sounds. So it feels like an uninterrupted stream, like nothing changed. But I clearly did
Wow.
blip out.
Yeah, wow.
I really don't know. I honestly, I don't know if you mean like nothing's happening for you, or because you say you're
Are
laying
you,
on the
you're wondering
floor.
what you're asking what my question is?
Yeah, because I really not
Well,
understanding. I'm
it's
sorry.
not it's not really a question. It's more like a comment. I guess
Okay.
the question it begs would be like, what is that? Because it's not, I'm not familiar with that kind of experience. That's
Yeah,
all.
I
Like,
have that happen. I have that happen. I still have that happen in Focus 12, and it is especially more prominent in Focus 15. Like one time
oh, okay.
I was doing Focus 15, and like the frequency shifted from 12 to 15, and
Hmm.
then the next thing I know, Bob is saying back to 12. Like the entire 30-minute period was like a fraction of a second just vanished.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I've experienced what you're describing.
Hmm.
I think it's just a matter of like when the consciousness shifts into a different state, it's like it doesn't remember what occurred. Like something could have happened, but you if you didn't remember it, it's like it didn't occur. The same way that like how the shadow memories are processed from dreaming or from OBEs. You can
Hmm.
literally wake up having had an hour of OBEs, but you don't remember all
Hmm.
of them until you're in the shower.
Yeah, I've
So
had that happen.
yeah,
Yeah.
you've had that happen
I've
too, right? Yeah.
I've
So
had it
it's
happen weeks later. I'm like, oh yeah, I had an OBE.
yeah, exactly. If you didn't remember it, it's like it didn't happen. So there could be something happening, but it's I suspect that like for me, I just haven't used the technology enough, or my consciousness
Hmm.
hasn't, it just fell asleep too fast, and there
But
was
yeah, like
no recollection.
it wasn't strong enough
Yeah,
to
Yeah,
transition.
yeah,
I see
So it
what you
just went
mean,
right
Paul.
into the body memory.
Yeah, I see what you mean, Paul. And yeah, as Ryan was saying, and there are times that I don't remember anything, and suddenly when I'm going for a walk, a meditation walk or something, it start coming back to me. Oh, I remember now. Oh
yeah,
my God,
yeah.
I had this experience, and it's good to for you to have. I carry a little notepad that I start writing quickly before I forget. So keeping a journal is very important too, because when you keep a journal of your experiences, you're training your mind to remember, to recall your dreams, recall your experiences. So when I go for my meditation walk, and I start going through what I did in the night or the day, that's when suddenly in between, I recall those experiences that I don't remember at the time when I was having the blackout, like
Hmm.
nothing happened.
Very, very
And then
interesting.
it start coming back to
Hmm.
me like that did happen. I remember now. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, because something did happen before,
Oh
and
yeah. Always
I
something
couldn't
happening.
describe. It was a feeling that
Right.
I don't understand. So yeah,
Yeah.
maybe
And don't
when I meditate, it'll come to me or something.
it will come back to you because once you start meditating, like Ryan was saying or something, it will come back to you. It could be in the shower. The shower
Right.
is the best place to remember things because you're so relaxed there that something happens in your brain that activates your brain. And then you start remembering things. So yeah, now I understand what you were saying.
I think Jaime's earlier advice too about what William Bullman told him about like saying mind awake, body asleep
Mhm.
as you go into this state. I think that'll be
Mhm.
helpful, for me as well, or having
Yeah,
the intention like I will remember what is about to happen, or I will be awake
yeah,
as this
I'll try
happens.
that.
You're right. And my favorite words, my favorite words from William Bullman is always ask with a strong voice. Don't ask with a wimpy request, because a wimpy request you get a wimpy response.
Mm.
I never forget that what he said to me. Always when you are practicing this, say with conviction and strength. Out of body experience now. Now I am out of the body. And with that strength and that you believe in it.
Is enough to shift
And
you out.
and that shifts you out. That
Yep.
Tori, when you go and do that, it's like getting you out of the body. So, but if you say out of body experience now, you know, you're not gonna get anything. You might get it after practicing perhaps, but he said
Right.
if you say it with strength and conviction, that's what you're gonna get.
But
So
then Ryan
I
said he
like
said,
that.
and they're like, dude, we hear you. Like Ryan said, they're like, dude,
Yes.
chill.
Yeah, they're like,
Yeah, but they
okay,
gotta
man, we
hear
got
you.
it.
They got to hear you.
So but it's a command. It's with
It's a
conviction.
command. Yes, it's a
Yeah.
command.
So it's kind of like magic
Oh,
with Aleister
It's like,
Crowley when you inflame yourself. So I don't know if you know Crowley in the LBRP, but when you're inflaming yourself in the ritual and you're calling the archangels and you're calling the different directions, he would have you do it loud, not necessarily loud, but it's a command. It's the action
you
of
do it with
commanding.
power. You do it with power. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
yes.
it does seem to focus your intention if you it does seem to have a focusing effect to do it that way. So that makes sense.
Yes, if
Yeah.
you want to manifest something, you got to state it with power. You got to
Hmm.
say it with power if you want to manifest something. So
Hmm.
that's what I have learned through this practice.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were all,
even in the waking life, sorry, right? Even in the waking life, when you want to manifest a job, when you want to manifest the business that you want to own, when you want to manifest, you got to state it with power and conviction that you're gonna get that. And I
Hmm.
say that from my own experience. Yeah.
yeah, there were many times where I had an OBE and it was like that pure push that was the only thing that made the exit complete. So that pushing, or like that actual very strong intention and that push outward, that was something that I feel was actually like lined up as part of the training for having OBEs, because so many times I ended up in the vibrational state and I wasn't able to complete the exit. But then I found Robert Bruce's technique about the rope, and you feel that you're tugging on a
Hmm.
rope when the vibrations start to begin, and it can trigger, a further like blossoming of the vibrational state. But the first couple of times, I tried to imagine the rope and I was just pulling on it, blah blah. But then when I actually like really pulled on that rope, it triggered a full vibrational state,
Ah,
and I was able
Yeah.
to have an OBE. Yeah, it's
you,
like,
you yanked on that rope.
yeah, it's like that power actually, it shifts. It's like it shifts, or it like causes this, this movement between if the astro and physical are like this most of the time, just like that strong intention does this. It's like that intention alone is enough to cause a shift that will really trigger the vibrational state and the whole process.
Hmm.
So,
Right. And if you can imagine the rope, then what I've learned is that you can also practice in real life pulling a rope and then kind of like doing it physically, feeling it. And so when you do the practice, you already know what it feels like. And then you're gonna be able to do that, like you're actually pulling it because you already know how it feels like, you felt it, and you do it with conscious awareness. Everything that you do has to be with conscious awareness. Like for instance, before I go to bed, you might think I'm crazy, but I go running around the house and jumping. like I'm out of the body now, and I jump,
Mm.
doing the jump, and or I'm sitting down and then I get up. I'm awake now. I'm out of the body now, and I get up from the chair because in the
Mhm.
bed you sit down and then you're able to get out of your bed. So those are the practices I do during the day, with conscious awareness that I'm going to have an out of body experience. Now I'm out of the body. So I train myself to do that. So when I go to sleep, I'm already trained
To do
that
that.
when something triggers me in my dream, I will know that I'm ready to get out of my body. So it's easier for me to either jump out of the bed, roll technique, or the rope, like going like that, or sitting down and then getting out of the bed. Because I've been practicing that during the day. So the mind is trainable.
That reminds
That's
me
what
of
I learned.
Ophiel. I don't know if you ever read Ophiel's book on it, but he would do something similar.
No, I
Kind
haven't.
of he would have you walk around your room
Yeah,
and walk around your house physically,
yes. And
and
jump.
but then also do it though mentally
Right.
Yes.
and alternate between the two.
That's
So
what I
that you
Yeah,
did.
get
that's
Exactly.
yeah.
that's an actual exit method. It's called the walkout method. You imagine you do like you imagine that you're walking out of your, getting out of your bed and walking out of your house, and
Mhm.
Yes.
you repeat that process as you're getting close to the border of being awake and being asleep, and it triggers an OBE. So
Yes.
that's an actual
And they,
exit.
yeah. And they also, I also learned that you do this with a child mind, with a childlike, like being a child and being just having fun with it. I go out, like Brian said, I go out to the patio and I look in the sky and I see all the blue clouds and things like that. And I try to like jump out to the clouds. I want to experience the clouds. I want to experience the moon. So I see the moon and I pretend like I'm flying into the moon. So I have had experiences that I find myself outside and then I say to myself, when I see the moon, I will know I'm dreaming or I'm having an out of body experience. And suddenly I shoot up into space, speed of light, because I've been training myself to do that. So it's a lot of fun when you make things, make it fun and relax and not putting pressure yourself that you have to have it. I'm going to have it. Because if you put pressure into yourself or stressing yourself to get out of the body, you put in resistance. And William Bullman suggests that just be simple and just allow surrender, just allow to flow, to go with it. It's gonna happen. And just believe that it's gonna happen. So that's
Paul,
what I
could
learned.
Paul, could you describe since you said these undescribable sensations? I think you used the word fire.
Yeah, I kind of had a sense of like a burning inside, but it didn't feel like painful. That's the only thing I can kind of recall. It was a a feeling that I've never felt before. And I've had a lot of out exit sensations because I used to have out of body experience when I was younger too. And I used to study Robert Bruce and Robert Monroe when I was a teenager. So I would try those various techniques, but this was different. 'Cause I didn't have the Monroe tapes at that time,
Mm,
the Gateway. I didn't have the Gateway tapes, but it's like a feeling, but it's also a mindset that's different. But I don't have words for it because I can't even recall it right now.
mm.
But when I go back into Focus 12, it does seem different. Th- Some kind of some kind of vibrations or energy feeling, but a different type, different flavor. So
Yeah. For
I don't
me,
know.
it felt like my body was di dissolving into light, but it wasn't like the image of light. It was like the feeling of light. So it is
Hmm.
very different. I think Focus 12 is like its own. I noticed that each of the focus levels is kind of like its own territory. Like Focus 10 has all this stuff
Hmm.
that to me it only happens in Focus 10. And then Focus 12 has all this stuff that doesn't happen in Focus 10, but it happens in Focus 12. So like when I had the infinite space consciousness a few weeks ago, like that, um not only has that not happened in a regular OBE, but it definitely has not happened in Focus 10. when using Focus 10. And I've done Focus 10 like 80 times. So I think because each one is driving your brain into a certain state, that it's going to have its own like set of experiences and sensations and feelings. So yeah, I would just start to take note of all of it and see what happens. Yep. All right. Well, it's 40 minutes over. But thank you for hanging out, everyone. It's fantastic. And Jaime, thank you for everything you shared. This was incredible. It was great to have you.
You're welcome.
Please come Sunday if you can, or for the rest of the series. It's really fantastic to have you here.
Yeah, this is great for me too, because I was thinking a while ago that I need to be more in a community that they're doing the gateway or more practice, because it's necessary, it's important to be connected, because the more we connected and doing the practice and talking about it, it will trigger a lucid dreaming or out of body experience. So this for me is also good. So thank you for inviting me back, because I will
Yeah,
be coming back.
it's fantastic. Like I think on Sunday we had a class, and within 24 hours, like 4 people had one person was like these portals were opening up in space, another person was like I was in space, another person was like a unconditional love state of OBE. And yeah, even Paul had an experience like at the start where Paul, can you share this really quick about how you thought you were asleep but you weren't?
I I was doing Focus 12 before I go to sleep, and um I was doing Wake Back to Bed, and like basically falling asleep to Focus 12. And what happened was I woke up maybe 3 or 4 hours later and went back to sleep, but I thought that actually I couldn't go back to sleep. I kept thinking the entire time I couldn't go back to sleep until I woke up. So I had like a dream of not being able to fall asleep, basically, even though I was asleep. So it was like I was unconsciously conscious.
Okay,
It
everyone.
was like a dream where I couldn't fall asleep.
Okay, so this is why this is crazy and important that everyone hear this. Okay, so maybe Jaime has very long OBEs, right? The longest I've had of like a lucid dream is like an hour, an OBE, which is more refined, probably like 15 minutes at the most.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I don't have super long ones.
Right, exactly. But Paul, he was like in astral consciousness for like 3 hours, had no
But I, but
idea.
I, but I wasn't aware of it though. That's the weird thing. So I don't know if
Yeah,
it
so
counts because I just
oh,
feel
it
like I
counts,
couldn't
bro.
sleep for
That,
multiple hours.
yeah, that is wild. I mean, I've never. I mean, how many Jaime have you? Have you had a OBE that was like 3 hours long?
Well, what I know is that it can be happening, but we don't realize the time.
Yeah.
So I know,
Mhm.
like, I feel like I had a lone OBE, but then my husband Bill said to me that I would just sleep for a little bit, for like 5 minutes or so. But
Oh
to me,
wow.
it felt like a long time in my sleep.
Hmm.
Like I
Actually,
take a little nap or something, and then he tells me you were gone for maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but I feel like I was gone for hours.
yeah,
Mm.
I had one OBE after I came back from Thailand that felt like half a day. But that
Yeah,
was like not, you know, that's not very common. So
I
This
do
felt
want.
like maybe 1 hour, but I was actually like 4 hours.
That was
it's
amazing.
such an interesting experience. Like, you're actually thinking that you're trying to fall asleep, but you were actually asleep the whole time.
So weird. Maybe I couldn't fall asleep at first. Maybe that's and then it just kept in that mode. But it was weird.
I I have had false awakenings. Like
Oh,
I false awakening.
I've
Like
had that.
I'm still sleeping in my dream,
Uh-huh.
but I
But you
awake in
thought you
my
woke up.
dream, and then I go back into sleep in my dream, and then it's like 3 dreams in the same time. Waking
I've
up,
had that
going back
happen.
to sleep, waking up, going back to
Yeah.
sleep. And I was like, but wait a moment, I was just awake. How is it that I'm asleep again? But and then again, it kind of repeats itself.
Yep.
So it's weird. Yeah.
But I think it's that time bending in focus 12 because I again I didn't have a correct idea of time. Usually I have a decent, I can usually kind of tell how much time has passed because your mind doesn't really shut off when you sleep. So you kind of have like an internal clock, but that focus 12
Right.
like has been wiping that away for some
Yeah.
reason.
I had the thing that happened to you, it happened to me last night. I was falling asleep to focus 12, or I was trying to go to sleep, and then I was listening to the frequencies, and then Bob's voice came on and it was ending, and I felt like no time had passed at all. So it's
Mm,
common. Yeah, it's common for
mm.
sure. But it's good that Jaime was here, because Jaime was here to remind us. He showed up from the higher selves so that he could say you have to intend to
Yeah.
remember, and you have to intend to be awake
Yeah.
as your body falls asleep.
Mhm.
Yeah, so perfect.
Yeah. Say it to yourself, body asleep, mind awake. And that guarantee you is gonna help you become awake, and your body sleep, but your mind will stay awake because you gave that command to yourself. And that's very important. Yeah. So this practice this morning with you guys, with Ryan, at four in the morning, I did it, and I've trained myself that when I carry my cell phone with me, I always say to myself, when I see my cell phone in my dream, I will know that I'm dreaming.
Mm.
So then I started after we finished the at 4 o'clock in the morning, the focus, uh, 10 and 12, I believe. Then I went back to bed, and then and then suddenly I found myself in a dream, and I found myself with a phone. So I start trying to take a picture in my phone, but my phone is not working. It's just like weird.
Mhm.
But it became like a 3D, my phone with a keypad. So I pushed a keypad, a button, and what happened was that it took me out in like a Google Map. I went up, and then I was thinking of Colombia, and suddenly I went zooming into Colombia, into Medellin, my city. But
Mm.
I was still here. And then I saw myself like going like Google Map to Colombia.
That's
And I said, but
awesome.
how is this possible?
So you saw like a bird's eye view of yourself going to Colombia.
Yes, exactly.
Huh.
And I haven't been
Awesome.
to Colombia for so long, but it felt so good that I was able to like see the map of Colombia for like Google Map. And then I said, that's where I want to go. And I zoomed down that way. So anyways, I was just
Huh.
wanted to share that. That was fun doing that because I was missing seeing Colombia and Medellin, and then I just went Zoom and I went there. So it was
That's a
fun. And then I
smartphone.
came back as a
That is a
smartphone.
smartphone. That's a higher cell phone, Jaime. That's a
Yeah.
mainframe phone right
So
there.
yeah, Myra Duga suggests that grab your phone, feel it, and then fall asleep with your phone, and then when you wake up in your dream, you'll know that you're dreaming because you have your phone and you train yourself to remember. So that's a good technique. Yeah.
Hmm.
So that was fun. So thank you, Ryan, for inviting me this morning to the practice.
Oh yeah, we're
Yeah.
doing it again tomorrow morning if anyone wants to come. So that's like in 7 hours approximately.
Yeah,
So
I'm excited to try it again because if you keep an excitement about this, then you're opening
helps
those
so
gates
much.
of the
Helps so
energy. You
much.
open that energy again to have these experiences. Yeah. So I'm up for that.
Yep. So anyone who's up for it, come to Wake Back to Bed. The room will be open at 4 a.m.
I'll
So
be there.
I think we can wrap it up tonight. Thank you everyone for coming. This is a fantastic session. And a final note, that higher self opening exercise where you're just uh intending to connect. There's an active and a passive version of it. It's active and passive side. You know, when Jaime's saying like use strong intention, in OBEs, I've used strong intention as well to experience higher self, but do both or try both and see how it goes. Because when I sit with higher self and I'm passive, there's this beautiful grace that descends. It's so weird. It's like words that I don't usually use to describe experience, but they're happening when I sit with that intention. So, all right, everyone. Thank you all for coming and have a wonderful night.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, everyone. Nice to meet you.